Hey, Pastor Steve Waldron here today with an older book, What's Behind Rock Music. Now, today it would be rap, it would be hip-hop music, but it all comes from the same genre. And rock music had a bad tree system. A bad tree cannot produce good fruit. Now, the origins of rock music, most people trace it back to Robert Johnson, who died at 27 years of age. One of the great blues guitarists of all time. He was ranked number 5, but another one of the great blues guitarists kind of gave rise that he said when he met Robert Johnson, he could play the harmonica, but he was terrible at the guitar. When he saw him again 2 years later, I think this was Herbert's son or somebody very famous blues guitarist, that he was one of the best. Had never heard anybody better. And he's still got, I think, like 39 songs you can get on different tracks and stuff like that. But it was said that he sold his soul to the devil at the crossroads of Route 1 and Route 8. You can still go to Clarksdale, Mississippi, and they have a memorial where he sold his soul to the devil, supposedly. Some people say it was at the corner of Highway 49 and Highway 61. You'll hear various things. But many people feel like he sold his soul to the devil, and that's where he got to where he could play the guitar so well. And he's considered to be the founder of modern rock and roll. He didn't develop the term, that was a Cleveland disc jockey, as we know, but founder of rock and roll. So it's not going to produce good fruit. He said, I mean, many of his songs are about the devil. Like he's got one called the Crossroad Blues, and another one about the devil attacking him. He was considered, he was a womanizer. Many people feel like he was poisoned by someone who he was flirting with a guy's wife, you know, this type thing. And he groomed a girl in every stop that he had. And so this is the kind of the sordid history of rock and roll. And then modern rock and roll, you have the Laurel Canyon scene with Frank Zappa and Jim Morrison, who both happen to come from high-ranking military families. A lot of people put stock in that it was kind of like really a psyop of some sort. You know, we won't go into all of that. But there at Laurel Canyon, you had the Monkees there, you had the Byrds there, you had, again, Zappa and Morrison there, and all these people. You had another great songwriter, Neil Young was there, and Stills was there, Joni Mitchell was there, and another just great songwriter you've probably heard of by the name of Charles Manson was also there. But so this is, again, the history of rock and roll. Robert Johnson died at 27, and so there's a curse of 27. You got Kurt Cobain, Amy Winehouse, Brian Jones, Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin. So many died at the age of 27. So there's a lot of people that go into this. So this is a great little book, and it's a little dated, but rock music is New Age rebellion, and you really just can't do away with the fact that it's still evil, it's still wicked. And one of the saddest things is in some ways it's influencing the church to this day, because church people, we were listening to a Christian song the other day, and it was playing one of the Who's song was the background, and they were just singing Christian lyrics to the Who's song. And you know, I don't think David went to pagan temples and got what they were doing to worship Jehovah. I just don't. You've got the 5%ers that are so big. You've got people naming themselves Jesus, claiming to be God. They're in rock and hip-hop now, the 5%ers that claim to be God. All this garbage. Come on. Sing the songs of Zion. Worship Jesus Christ. Sing psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs. And it's not dead if it's done by the Church of the Living God. It's alive, you know. And I remember we used to write all our own songs. And now all we do is just get stuff from the world. We want to be like the world. The church is infamous for being like the world, just a few years behind. The church will never be good enough to be like the world, because the church is not supposed to be like the world. We're supposed to come out from among them and be separate. So good little book, What's Behind Rock Music, and massive history behind rock music, and it's all bad. God bless you today. Live for Jesus Christ.